and welcome to Doing Business Right, hosted by Dr. Bryan Raya. This is a weekly conversation for business leaders and entrepreneurs who have an invested interest in doing business right. Here is your host, Dr. Bryan Raya. Welcome and to this edition of Doing Business Right as part of Northwest Arkansas Business RadioX. My name is Dr. Bryan Raya, and I'll be your host today. As an entrepreneur and small business owner in Northwest Arkansas, I want to help connect our business community together through collaboration and networking. Doing Business Right is a podcast aimed at helping new and established small business owners and those who may be thinking about entrepreneurship. We do this by sharing stories and insights from local business people to encourage strong and efficient small business growth. So before we get started with this really exciting episode, just a couple of announcements, right? I do have a really cool slate of upcoming guests, including Jake Cooper from United Bank. Many of you know who Jake is, and so make sure you guys tune into that. I got, clothing, and I got massage, and I got, legal and all types of stuff. So make sure that you're tuning in to Doing Business Right to check out what we have going on here. And lastly, thank you again for all the support for my most recent book that just came out, The Essential Small Business Guide to Financial Management. It is on Amazon. Thank you for people who've left a review and provided feedback. So greatly appreciated. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So today, I am super excited to have my friend and colleague, Bo Counts from Pinpoint Bar. Hello, welcome to the show, Bo.
Hey, Brian, man. Thanks for having me on the show.
I am super excited. I remember I saw you at ArtFest just a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, man, I just started my show, and you just have great energy, your personality. I've worked with you over at Pinpoint. I've seen what you've been doing over there, and I just know that you are part of our NWA community, and this is an NWA kind of focused show, and I wanted to have you on here to share your insights, your knowledge, and just
he needed a break from all these lawyers and investment guys. That's what it was.
Yeah. Actually, I just had some investment guys here last week, so this is a complete change of contrast. But that's what I love about the show is that I can bring different people on here, different perspectives. So anyway, many of you know, I've heard of Pinpoint or know who Bo Counts is. I've met so many people who are like, do you know Bo? Oh, yeah, I know Bo. Oh, yeah, I know Bo.
That guy.
That guy. Usually, it's positive.
Okay.
Usually,
most of the time.
Usually positive.
We have a 70% success rate on
Every once in a while, I'll get oh, yeah, Bo.
Guy.
Yeah. And we kind of move the conversation along. But
they must work for city council.
So for the listeners who don't know who you are, why don't you just kind of give a real brief background of kind of you?
Man, I'm a guy that's done a whole lot of stuff in a very short amount of time. I've worked in every industry you can think of. I was one of those guys that right out of college went to do the quote unquote traditional desk job, the what you thought you were supposed to do, and then got so incredibly unsatisfied and unhappy that I turned all of my passions and hobbies into sort of weird little careers. And I have this extremely bad habit of saying, yeah, sure, to a lot of stuff. And a lot of those things, not everything pans out and is amazing. Yeah. But a lot of those things opened up new doors and became different avenues. I worked in the film industry. I was a field producer for Discovery Channel for a long time. I have a TV show here in KNWA. I've got a radio show and podcast that I did for 16 years. I own a local business now. I'm on the board for the Downtown Fayetteville Coalition. I've started an arts nonprofit a long time ago called Art Amiss. I've just been doing events and I've been doing just community work. And it's one of those things. I love Northwest Arkansas so much that I want to make this place the place that I want to be forever. And I realize that you can't always just wait around for someone else to make that for you. And it takes people like me and like other people that I know and there's very few of us to go, man, what would be cool? This, what needs to happen? Us doing it. Because a lot of times your average Joe that may even be listening to this podcast, they may have an amazing idea. Or they may go, man, what we need? We need this. We need what would be cool? This. And then that's the end of that thought process.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
But if you want it bad enough, you kind of got to do it. And that's one of the things that I never stop doing day in, day out is try to empower people to, and I know this sounds like you'd write it on a piece of driftwood in Hobby Lobby, but follow your dreams, and just do it.
Yeah. Just figure it out. And I love that. And when I taught and I had that same approach, just do it.
Yeah,
just
Shia LaBeouf was right the whole time.
and I think but again, I have other episodes and we talked about mindset and we talk about overcoming those challenges and what if I fail and what if it doesn't work?
What if you great? You learn.
Exactly, and that's I heard this great quote. It was failure is not the opposite of success. Failure is part.
It's a part of success. I was having a really interesting conversation with someone about modern corporate America and how so many people right now in the quote unquote traditional modern idea of corporate America are so afraid of failure that they set themselves up for mediocrity and not accomplishing anything and often setting up roadblocks for progress because they're afraid of failing. They're afraid of being the one responsible for something that didn't take off. And amazing projects don't happen because everyone's too afraid of if it goes, I might get fired or someone might get mad at me. I might lose the Thompson account. Whatever, but what if you crush it?
Exactly. What if, think the other side, what if it was a total success? What if it, revolutionized and, totally changed the direction?
Well, and everybody's right now, I think, in the world of business is so afraid of blame. And I think blame is in any operation, be it a small business or a corporation, is shared. Everybody, in any industry wants the fall guy because, nobody wants to get in trouble. But, I think we should all start taking more responsibility for large decisions. It's look, man, this idea didn't work out. We all came together on this project and maybe some problems happened. Let's get them on the next one. Not it was Scotty Thompson in accounting. And fire that guy. Everybody else is free from blame, and I think that's kind of a problem with progress these days. And it inhibits sort of creative, ideas to come to the forefront. That's why, tech startups are such an interesting realm of entrepreneurship right now, is because it's generally people that aren't afraid of failing because they are not accountable to anybody. They're just let's get this idea off the ground, and they're trying. And so that's where everybody's focused on is the one place that has kind of unbridled creativity. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, exactly. And so let's put it in context of here, the NWA. Because how long have you been in the NWA?
Geez, I've been in and out of NWA since the 90s, when I was a kid. We moved here. And like I said, I graduated high school here. I moved here as a teenager and then went to college at the University of Arkansas. And after that, with my stint in the film industry, I got to see a lot of the United States. I got to travel a bunch and see a lot of places, and I was still kind of home-based here, but in the film world, you go where the work is,
exactly.
And that may be 1 month, that may be a weekend, you don't know. But Fayetteville was kind of always my home base, and I still had all my side projects that I was doing here. But the more that I would leave Northwest Arkansas and visit these other markets, I never try to travel as a tourist. Because I feel like tourist glasses, you're always seeing things through your own vacation, and everything is amazing when you're on vacation. You could be having the most disgusting glass of gut rut wine on the coast of Italy, but you're on the coast of Italy.
Exactly.
And that is the most delicious glass of wine you've ever had in your life. And perspective is everything. And so when you go to New York City and you're like, oh my gosh, the lights, the sounds, the smells, everything's amazing. Well, yeah, for that weekend, but if you lived there,
you're like, whatever.
Everything. And so I took that mentality to every place that I went. And when I would come back to Fayetteville and I go, but if I lived here, and the answer all the time was it's cool. And so that was what kind of inspired me to plant even deeper roots and kind of open up my brick and mortar business and get more invested in Northwest Arkansas.
Yeah, exactly. And what I think is interesting, because you've been here since the 90s. You have seen the transformation of the NWA.
Boy, have I.
I'm only been here for just over a year.
Oh my gosh. So you're just a newborn infant.
I know. And so I talk to these older people and they're like, man, I remember when Rogers was this, and I remember when blah, blah was this.
Yeah.
And so kind of, share some insights of some things that you have seen as far as good, or even,
honestly, it is good and bad. We really something that not a lot of people know about Northwest Arkansas is there was a big initiative to try and bring light rail on our existing Arkansas-Missouri Railroad, which is just completely perfectly ripe for it. And it wouldn't have cost that much, but at the time, it seemed like a lot of money for not a lot of use. And now we've kind of missed the boat on it. Now it'd be way too expensive to try and do that. They did they did transit studies back in like 2002, 2003 on this, and they're like, who on earth would use this train? You know, and like fast forward 20 years, we're like everybody in Northwest Arkansas would use this train.
Yeah.
You know, and it's we've seen a lot of like interesting missteps. You know, once upon a time they wanted to build a bypass to the bypass, but that's when they decided to add, you know, the extra lanes, and those lanes have only been there for a few years. But you see all this rapid growth. And the interesting thing about Northwest Arkansas that I don't think a lot of people talk about is it's one of the only metropolitan areas in the United States that can't decide what our nucleus is. You know, like Dallas is Dallas, right? You know, and then when Fort Worth got so big, they just said, you know what, we're Dallas Fort Worth, you know, and they have two nuclei. And, you know, Chicago is Chicago, Houston is Houston, Austin is Austin, Nashville is Nashville. Here we're Northwest Arkansas because we can't find that nucleus, and strong and healthy metropolitan areas are built around a center because everyone's equidistant to that center. And here we're on a corridor, which is pretty rare for a metropolitan area to be in a straight line, because that means the people that are in Bella Vista are so far away from the people at West Fork that they're never going to intersect, you know? And so it makes our growth model really, really odd, because you look at a metropolitan area like Memphis, for example. Memphis isn't the greatest place on earth. It's littered with its own problems, but it's in a circle, you know, and you can get around it. You just do a lap, you know. Same with Dallas. It's in a big, huge circle.
Multiple circles.
Multiple circles. And no left turns ever. Oh, my God. But the growth model is in Northwest Arkansas is so unique. And I think that was kind of one of the reasons that we haven't gotten even bigger is because we are so spread out. And you've got places like Fayetteville that are, you know, trying to be like, oh, we're the cool cultural arts relevant place where the youthfulness of Northwest Arkansas, the university is here. Come live here. Come live here. And then you've got Bentonville, which is like, well, Fortune 1, dude. Like, come work here. We have all the money. And but there was always this tug of war between like, well, we've got all the money and we've got all the heart, you know, and now, you know, you fast forward 20 something years and you see Rogers is really the one winning because they're the one in the middle.
Exactly.
You know, and it's like baking cinnamon rolls. You know, you don't just stick them all in one pan like 5 inches from each other. You put one in the center and you put them around in a 9-inch baking pan. And guess what? They all lean against that middle one and they all rise. And like, I think when Northwest Arkansas really figures that out, we're going to be unstoppable. But I think that there's still too much of a tug of war between like us and them mentality because, well, we're Springdale and our downtown rules. Well, we're Rogers and our downtown rules. We're Fayetteville and our downtown rules. And our Bentonville and we're the best. And I think that, you know, when we start to work together as one community instead of four, we're going to see some really amazing things in the future.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's like just a great insight, especially for someone who's been here for a while, who's seen it grow and, you know, and it's traveled as well. I think that's like a huge part of like, I know with my travels around the world and you get so much perspective and you're like, oh, I like that idea. Oh, no, I like this.
This didn't work. You know.
And then you bring it home and with that mindset of going,
how can we make this work here?
Yes. That's unique to hear.
Well, and that's something, you know, I don't know if I've already mentioned this, but I'm on the board of the Downtown Fayetteville Coalition here, and it's kind of like our downtown association, and I represent the voice of bars and restaurants downtown, and we're right now working with a consulting firm, an out-of-town consulting firm, and so far they've been really great. But one of the interesting things that when we were in one of our focus group meetings that I brought to their attention, and they'd never really thought about it, which it was Northwest Arkansas is so unique in a lot of ways, both good and bad. We have some blessings that are not afforded to a lot of places in our position, and we also have some sort of like curses that are on us that don't normally come with metro areas, and a lot of it unfortunately comes with Walmart and Tyson. You know, Walmart and Tyson are two of the biggest companies on the planet, like planet Earth, right? And while that brings some amazing wealth and amazing opportunity and amazing resources at our disposal, what it also brings is zero economic competition and zero ideological competition, and just zero sort of just hybrid thoughts of different people from different backgrounds coming together to make decisions that affect, you know, you go to Dallas, you go to Chicago, and there's how many companies, how many big companies based there. And so, you know, like let's just name a company, Howard Jones. You've got an office upstairs. We just walk past it. Howard Jones's home office is headquartered in who cares, Wisconsin, whatever. I don't know, but they don't get to go to their town and go, well, we said this and that's what goes. You know, they have to answer to all the other companies that are there.
Yeah.
We don't have that here. So, you know, while yes, we have access to like infinite luxury. Like, you know, I saw one of the Kraftwerk, which is one of the most prolific electronic bands to ever happen in the history of music, for $30 next to an abandoned cheese factory. That shouldn't have happened, but it did here, and that's amazing. But what also shouldn't happen is, you know, everything has the last name of one family on it, and if you want to build, let's say, a Costco or a Kroger or a, you know, any other competing business, good luck. You want to build a Harps here, well, guess what? You're getting a neighborhood market across the street, you know, and there are those weird things that happen in our economy here that while it makes us healthy, it also stunts our growth. And I think more people need to be having those conversations, because not all of our small businesses can rely on those two entities, because at a certain point that well runneth dry.
Yes.
You know, and I'm already starting to talk to nonprofits and small businesses that are starting that relied on, you know, the generosity of these two amazing companies that have gifted us so much. But when there are more and more mouths to feed, you know, even trillionaires can't do it all. And so where does that put the responsibility on us as business owners and community members to sort of rise up and continue to build the fabric with our own two hands, and when it's hard and when we can't afford it and when we need to take out debt and, you know, when we might fail, you know, and take that risk. We're not used to that yet as a community. So
yeah, and so let's kind of like let's go to that entrepreneur, to that person thinking about, you know, the small business, because now you've kind of mentioned, it's like, so what can us little people, quote, do?
Well, you know, and that's something that I'm super passionate about, because people ask me all the time. They say, you know, Bo, you seem like such a goofy guy. You seem like such a cut up in the life of the party. But then there's this other side of you that comes out with these facts and these figures and this knowledge of like what's going on in city council and, you know, all. And they go, how do you know all this stuff? And I go, well, it's because I pay attention. It's because I'm active and I care and I dig, you know, and all of the information is out there if you're willing to get it. It doesn't show up in your Facebook feed. Like if you're getting all your news from What's Wrong Fayetteville, you're already 6 months late to the party, because by the time it shows up on one of those things, it's too late to stop it. You know, but you can go to the City of Fayetteville website, the City of Rogers website, the City of Bentonville's website. You can find all of their minutes to every city council meeting. You can know what development's coming on. You can be present. I personally stopped a development, you know, of a place here in town that I'm not going to name, but I also helped save Lewis Park, which was going to turn into student housing condos. And a gentleman by the name of Will Dockery, who was an amazing guy, got a bunch of people together, and, you know, I give him all credit for leading that charge. But I went into city council multiple times and made the case. It's like, you can't take away green space and then expect to get it back when you make that mistake of, oops, we need more green space. Like you take Central Park in New York. If they turn that into buildings, they'd never turn it back into a park. And and that is the shining jewel of New York City. And, with our rapid growth, sometimes, the people in city council, they're just people. I don't have any ill will to them because they're just people trying to make decisions. And when they don't have that input from people like you, people like me, people like the lady that runs the clothing store down the street that thinks she's too busy to even make a difference, show up on a Tuesday. Be present and let your voice be heard. Don't just click on a comment on Facebook. You have to be active, and you have to, this is a town or a community, wherever it is you live, that you spend your whole life in, like every day. When they say like you spend so much of your time sleeping, so you should buy a good mattress.
Yeah.
The same applies to your city. Like, you're going to live in the city every day of your life until you move. So why not invest a little bit more effort into making that city something awesome? And it requires, like on a Tuesday at 5, going to a city council meeting if it has an agenda item you care about. It means going and donating your time to a local charity that's trying to do something. Going and volunteering some time at, say, Falltoberfest when they say we need volunteers. It's those little things that enough people in your community come out and show out, then you're going to make waves.
Yeah. Oh my God. I am so inspired right now, Bo. Because I think like that message is so important, because I think so many people are like, well, especially like the entrepreneur, small business person, and they're like, oh, I'm just trying to sell my thing. I'm trying to get my product, trying to get my business off the ground, that is part of it.
Yeah.
But it was like, but if you really want to like get noticed and really, get involved for like the decisions of your community, which could affect your business.
It 100%
right?
affects
totally
your
affects
business.
your business, and we'll talk more about that kind of like when we get into talking about Pinpoint. But I was like, then get involved. Right? Let people know who you are. Let people know, that you care about that community and that you're invested into that community.
And oddly enough, they will buy whatever you're, and I don't want that to sound like crooked. They will buy whatever you're selling as long as it's good products. But if the difference is between like, and I'm gonna unfortunately throw we'll not use business names. You're gonna go get a beer and a burger from corporate entity A, or you're gonna go get a beer and a burger from this place that that the owner is active in his community, is volunteering his time, and is paying his employees well and doing cool things in the community. Even if that corporate burger and beer A is a couple bucks more, you're probably going to have something inside of you that says, I should go support this one.
Yes.
And that's the whole support local movement. Is it comes from that, like, your dollar stays in your community longer when you spend it locally, and there is data to back that up. It's not hard science to know that if you spend $20 at a local business, that $20 stays in your community way longer than if you go spend that $20, on Amazon. And I know that we live in harder economic times right now. Things are more expensive. We're in a period of inflation, and all that stuff is hard. But they're like, oh, well, it's $1 cheaper on Amazon. And it's like, oh, this grocery store is $2. Well, I know you're going to go spend that $2 on a latte at Starbucks that was $15. So don't tell me this. It's convenience when it comes down to it.
Exactly.
And if you care about your community, enough, then that inconvenience is no longer as inconvenient. You know what I mean? So I don't know.
And I think it's not exactly. It's not inconvenient, because you're understanding that you're investing. You're investing that, and you're being part of that. And a lot of times you just feel better about it. You're like, wow, I supported a friend. I supported them. And that's what I love about networking, and I love seeing people. And
that burger will fill your stomach and your soul.
Exactly. Yeah. And so let's kind of transition to Pinpoint, because talk about local type of stuff. Well, another reason that I wanted to have you on my show is because it's October.
It is October.
And I know it's one of your favorite months of the year.
Oh my gosh.
It's got
the sultry darkness coming forth.
It's here.
It's Nightmare on Block Street, man.
Yeah, so let's talk about Nightmare on Block Street. What is Nightmare on Block Street?
It is my favorite time of the year. It is a month-long, completely immersive experience, right? And it's everything, we transform Pinpoint for the entire month of October to be that place that you saw in the movies growing up. Then you're like, I want to go to that place on Halloween. Like everybody, everybody's having, everything's decorated, everything you taste, everything you smell, everything you see is like themed, right? And I try not to twitch when people say it, but they go, I love your decorations. Like the word decoration these are not decorations, folks. This is an immersive experience because everyone's like, oh, it's a Halloween themed bar. No, there are 12 different themes within this bar, right? So we build vignettes. So every place you sit is a different theme and a different experience. And, anything from a Jurassic Park to having raptors coming out of, bushes while you're at the table. And then, The Exorcist, you're sitting there and Reagan's head's twirling above your table and you're in her bedroom. You can sit in the couch in a mummy's tomb. And, every time you go, you can kind of experience something different depending where you're sitting. And you got cocktails and blood bags and in cauldrons and that light up and have fangs in them. And it's just an expression. And it's unlike almost anything in the country. So we've been told, and in my travels, I've gone around, and I go to Tales of the Cocktail every year, which is a big national cocktail conference in New Orleans. And I'm always looking for somebody that's doing what we're doing so that I can try and be better, but there never is. And so going back to that original thought of like, well, what if I fail? I'm doing something new. I don't have anything to base this off of. Well, look, I did it. I did something that no one was doing. And so I remember one of the first people I told years ago when I just started to do Nightmare on Block Street for a whole month, they're like, a month-long Halloween bar? Who's going to care about that? And here we are and doing it for a month, even now considering stretching it into September because people have just really, really enjoyed it.
I just love it. Yeah. It's an amazing experience.
Thank you.
And it's so unique and it's so cool. It's right here. In
Northwest Arkansas. I've had people from Universal Studios that came in and were like, oh, we're in town. We stopped by this and wow, they do Halloween Horror Nights. And he's like, man, we have teams of like 40 or 50 people, budgets of millions, and to scale it, you guys are making us look bad. Like this is incredible, and we're real proud of that.
That's awesome. What an accomplishment! What a huge pat in the back that people are coming, and that's great because people do visit. How many people come just
for Nightmare on Block Street, and it's honestly a blessing and a curse.
Yeah,
because Pinpoint is open the rest of the year. Okay, ladies and gentlemen at home, we are open every single day except Monday, all year round, and a lot of people only come during our Christmas and our Halloween. We also do Christmas really big. And it's kind of a bummer because, you do something so big and so unique, but you also set a bar and an expectation for your customer. So, it is a blessing and a curse because we get so many people, but then we're also like, come see us in January and February and March. And,
Yeah. And again, that's like the entrepreneurial journey, right? Like it's hard to, keep that energy and, keep
how do you
fresh.
Sustain?
How do you, because that's obviously so hard to be sustaining. And so that's why I'm so appreciative that you come here in October in one of your busiest months.
It's convenient that your studio is just a block away.
Yeah, exactly. Literally walking distance. And I was like, hey, it's a 2-minute walk, if that, to come on up here and share it. So before we kind of wrap this things up, so I just want to back to this whole Nightmare on Block Street. What is some of your favorite most about Pinpoint right now that you got if you were to say
that we're just super proud of?
You got to go check this.
Well, one of the things that is super unique, Pinpoint is a cocktail bar first, and then we have pinballs. We have vintage pinballs, but we're not a barcade. I don't like that word barcade because barcade generally gives you the connotations of there's video games and there's going to be all this memorabilia and people be like, remember Macho Man, Randy Savage, you remember Slimer, you remember Ghostbuster, and we don't do that. This is very much an adult environment, you don't have to give a crap about pinball at all to have an amazing time at Pinpoint. But going to the pinball point in Nightmare on Block Street, all of our pinball games are also Halloween games. It is one of the most impressive collections of spooky themed pin. We have almost all of the good ones ever manufactured, and it's a whole line. So like I said, when I said everything that you see and touch is Halloween, I'm not kidding. Even our pinballs, those things are 450 pounds. They're hard to move, and we gut the whole place and only bring in spooky games that we've been having in our secret stock. And tying it all back to something that I'm proud of about Pinpoint and what you were talking about with community driven business is a lot of our success I attribute to all of the seeds that I planted in this community, because we are in a 107-year-old basement with a single door, a very small red door on Block Street that most people can't find. You can't see in. Even if you look in the door, you can't see in because it's a staircase straight down. And it is very much a leap of faith to go into my establishment. But on day one, everybody was like, we got to go see what Bo did. We got to go see Bo's place, because Bo has always been at our places. Bo's always done these cool things in the community. We got to go see what he's doing. And I think that that's what helped us survive the pandemic. It's what helped us build Pinpoint as a business. It's what helped Nightmare on Block Street get off the ground is that, investment I make into the community every day that comes back in other ways.
Yeah, and there you have it. And again, it's not just about him going, I have this great dream, and it's me, and I'm going to have this great thing. It was all the time and years and relationships that you built that helped build that thing. You know what?
What can I make for this community that's great?
Yeah, to make our community better.
Yeah.
Right, that we've all invested in, and that we're all part of this together. I just what an awesome little chat here. And I know we're about to kind of wrap things up, and I just think it's, if you have not been to Pinpoint, and I know some people, I've always mentioned it when I'm over or out, I'm like, you got to go check out Pinpoint.
Check it out.
You got to go check this place out. And I say this year round.
Yeah.
I say this year round.
All the time.
Even in March and April, because you have seasonal cocktails and they change and they evolve and, always experimenting with things. And it's an incredible selection over there of cocktails. And it's an incredible selection of game and just a great place to chill. So I'm about to give to Adam here, and he's about to give us an update of what's happening in Northwest Arkansas Business RadioX. So, Adam, let's give it to you.
Good morning, Brian. Your conversation this morning is just amazing. I was hoping you guys would keep going for another hour or so. We could just
get off the mic and we will.
Right. I'm telling you, it's great stuff. And it echoes exactly what was going on in the studio before you guys arrived. We had Alyssa Surratt from Whimsically Wakely. She has a boutique with a big following, and me and her and our co-owner April, we were all sitting here talking about how we could, instead of doing small things individually, do greater things by the might of who we are as organizations within Northwest Arkansas. And so there must be something in the air this morning, because you guys didn't know what we talked about, but that's all these halls have heard this morning. And so I feel like there's a greater call for all of Northwest Arkansas, especially our listening audience in Northwest Arkansas Business Radio, to begin to not only look inward, but look outward and see how you can make a difference for key organizations in this area. Maybe it's time to partner your organization with another. I know we're doing that through a podcast that we call Hometown Heroes. That's going to be hosted by our good friend Alyssa Surratt. It's going to kick off here in just a couple of weeks. But that entire fundraiser that entire podcast is going to be the fundraising arm of our station. And we're going to get to go out and make a difference. And the whole mission behind Hometown Heroes is to literally activate all of the hometown heroes that we have to come work together and make a huge difference on behalf of those less fortunate men, women, children, the whole deal. I know we're looking at doing a great fundraiser for the call of Northwest Arkansas. What really matters is your conversation, Brian, with you and Bo. So I'm going to go ahead and let you guys get it back into it and just keep talking as long as you want.
All right.
Right on.
All right. Thank you, Adam. So before we kind of wrap up here, Bo, how can our listeners find you and Pinpoint
and get involved
connected and get connected?
There's a lot of ways. I mean, social media is one of the best and worst things to ever happen to humanity, but it does still has some viable uses. I mean, it is how we communicate these days. You can find Pinpoint on any of your social media. Just search for Pinpoint Fayetteville. We're on Instagram. We're on Facebook. All that jazz. Same with Nightmare on Block Street. Or on Instagram or on Facebook. You can visit pinpointfayetteville.com. You can visit nightmareonblockstreet.com. But going back to that getting involved part, like I said, I'm a member of the DFC. I'm on the board. And it's a fairly new organization. And you can go to downtownfay.org and you can check out, like, if you have that itch after listening to the show and you go, oh, I want to know more, I want to be involved. Go check that out. Downtown Fayetteville. You can find out, you can subscribe to our mailing list and find out what's going on downtown, so you can be that person that people ask. They go, how do you know all these things? Because we let you know. You just have to find that information. So downtownfay.org. We also have an Instagram for that. I'm Bo. My name is Bo Counts. There's only like 2 of me in North America, so you could just Google that, and I'm relatively easy to find. And none of my profiles are private, so just find me. I'm there. Reach out if you got an idea. Let's talk about it. If you got something you want to do, like we said at the very beginning of this show, I've got a really bad habit of being like, yeah, sure. So,
yeah. And you also have your own podcast.
I do. Yeah, that's right. The Drive-In Speaker Box, man. I've been podcasting for, oh my God, almost like 16 years. Back before podcasting was a word. I remember when I was trying to sell, and people go, oh, you mean like radio stations that you download? What's an MP3? That's how long I've been doing this. But the Drive-In Speaker Box is a show that celebrates film, because I used to work in the film industry. I'm a lifelong film lover. And if you haven't noticed from this podcast, I'm a natural critic. And we've been doing this for a really long time. I've had several co-hosts, but my co-host now, he's been with me for several years, and it started as kind of a newspaper article. I was writing some movie reviews for a local newspaper that doesn't even exist anymore, and then it turned into a college radio show, and then it turned into a regular radio show, then it turned into a podcast, then it turned into a Periscope feed, which is a dead technology, then it turned into a live stream, and then I stopped doing podcasting for a while because no one knew what it was. And then I was like, well, I'm going back to radio. And then everybody's like, oh, well, radio's dead. And I'm like, oops, that's one of those, I made a failed decision, but we kept going. And now we're, we stream the show live. We've been doing it so long that it's just a live show now. And it's on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch, simulcast every Monday night at 8 o'clock. And then, live from our studio. So we have lighting and sets and all this stuff.
Awesome.
And then we push the audio out as a podcast wherever it is you download podcasts.
Well, that is awesome. So, again, if you can't find Bo, then
you're not looking very hard.
You're not looking very hard because he's everywhere. Pinpoint's everywhere. His brand is everywhere. This is awesome. So I love to end my episodes of Doing Business Right with a final thought from the guest. And just so many nuggets, so many things to think about.
Yeah.
So today, right? What is Bo Count's final thought about doing business right?
I mean, doing business right is a very big phrase. It's just 3 words, but it's big, and to me, especially right now when I'm looking around at a lot of businesses that are going out of business, that are getting pushed out of their leases by, let's just go ahead and call them predatory landlords, and we're seeing people struggling to keep jobs and keep staff. Like, doing business right goes back to what we've been saying this whole time, is like, you ever seen, let's do a little Drive-In Speaker Box tie-in. You ever seen Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure?
One of my favorites.
Be excellent to each other and party on, dudes. Like, that is the secret sauce, man. You just be excellent to everybody. Don't try and stab everybody in the back. Don't try and wheel and deal constantly, because those are bridges waiting to be burned. You make partnerships in a community. You build relationships. You don't try and go, well, man, they didn't ask for anything cheaper, so I didn't offer them a deal. So I done screwed them over, man. Like, don't do that. Like, that's how you erode communities. like here on Block Street with Pinpoint, if like my neighbors at Vault the other day, they said, "Oh man, we're out of ORA cups. Do you have some?" I said, "Yeah, sure." My friends at Atlas down the street, which, is an amazing restaurant. They're like, "Oh, we're out of bamboo cocktail picks. We know you use some. Can I borrow a bag?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure. I'll run them right down to you." And then my friend Curtis at Cheers, who right here on the old post office during Nightmare on Block Street, we run out of ice. And I go, "Hey buddy, can I back up to your loading dock and get a cooler full of ice?" And he's like, "Yeah, sure." Not like, "That's going to be $20, man." And that is the thing. Build your community, invest in your community, do business right. Means to me is see humanity, respect that we're all in this together, and treat each other like equals.
Awesome. Amazing. Right.
Thank you.
Gosh, I hope our listeners have really just listened to that and really take it to heart. And because you can just hear your passion. You can hear and you can feel the passion. And I hope when they listen to this episode, they're like, man, because it's true. And I can see it in your eyes and I can see it in your face that this is something that's very special to us in our community. And even though I'm like a newbie here, I've grown to really love this community.
Well, and you're investing in your community right now just by doing this podcast, and you're fresh, and that's what we need more of, man. Yeah. So congrats to you, man. Thank you for doing this.
I appreciate it. So thank you so much. That means a lot to me, Bo. So let's just close this out. Just an amazing conversation. Thank you for all the listeners taking the time to listen to Doing Business Right. And I hope you found the insights in this conversation valuable and implementing just good business practices for generating and innovative ideas to foster the development and growth of your enterprise. If you want further knowledge on effective business practices as well as seeing my other episodes, please visit my website, dbrbookkeeping.com. Stay updated with the latest tips and news by liking and following us on social media, on LinkedIn, and all the places you can find DBR Bookkeeping. If you're interested in getting involved, right? Bo has some information. Adam has some information. I have some information. Just reach out and get involved. We want to help promote our venture all together. Our podcast is growing, our community is growing, and it's an excellent platform to connect with fellow entrepreneurs here in Northwest Arkansas. So I am your host, Dr. Bryan Raya, and I wish all entrepreneurs and business owners the utmost success by doing business right. Thank you for listening to Doing Business Right. For more information about doing business right with Dr. Bryan Raya, visit our website at dbrbookkeeping.com.